And it's the first drop in a rainstorm that's going to be an insane downpour. Texas-sized hail, all that shit. I'm kidding. Hopefully just pleasant raindrops, fat raindrops of progress. And that first raindrop to me was the exploitation at large of a new class of anti-obesity drugs, the Ozempics, the tirzepatides, and so on and so forth. Because it used to be that in your pursuit of fitness and health, you could take some supplements. And they had these very small upsides. They were very contextual. You had to be, if you're not deficient in vitamin D, more vitamin D doesn't help you, arguably become toxic, so on and so forth. And then you could do the basics of actually eating well and doing fitness and all that stuff. But the conversation about pharmaceutical intervention and enhancement was like, you think metformin might do some things, but it's a very small effect and most people don't need it, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like anabolic steroids and growth hormone, which are like, oh, they work, but the side effect profile is bigger than there's a laundry list. It's worse than the main effect. And so with the new class of anorectic drugs, which is what they're called, drugs that reduce appetite and food intake, you had this situation occur where to millions of people for whom dietary control was not realistic given their genetic food drive and food environment and history of eating and their current adiposity, it now became insanely empowered to be able to control their diet however they saw fit. The ability to do that through just one injection a week, subcutaneous, or now they have like, I think Ribelsis is like a pill or something like that. Baffling. Because now, to a large extent, for a huge fraction of the population that struggles with weight, your body weight becomes a turn dial. You could just turn the medication dose up and down. As long as the side effects are manageable, and they are very manageable relative to older drugs like anabolic steroids, for example, or, like phentermine and stuff, or drugs that would work for 3 months and then you were used to them, they didn't do anything, just side effects. Now that we have that, all of this proselytizing that I've been doing, and no doubt you've been doing about the coming biotech revolution, has its first real killer on the block. And it's such a weird thing because you're like, it used to be before the 2022 kind of Ozempic revolution, I would just, myself and my friend Jared, pro bodybuilder, we would just blather to whoever was listening about the coming renaissance of biotech. And at some point, you're just like, look, I get it, man. You like YouTube videos with, Ray Kurzweil in them. Sweet, shut up. But after Ozempic and all of those drugs, it's kind of like, oh, is this a one-off? Or are more drugs like this coming? And for me, one of my huge passions and one of my bridges that I mentioned earlier was, okay, what other drugs could be potentially in the pipeline through AI drug discovery and very receptor selectorized drug design, which is now a reality? What kind of drugs are there that could be real game changers? And I can think of at least two offhand. One is what would be called a non-androgenic anabolic. Muscle mass is a critical part of your healthiness of your organs.